these groups are not all comparable, but in some ways they have the same effect within the population. People see them from the outside as being narrow-minded, rigid, mean-spirited, sometimes frightening, and dangerous, really, to the American way of democracy and life. Michigan has been one of those places that's had a roller coaster economy, and when it's good, it's better than any place there is, and when it's bad, it's worse than any place there is. For example, in the 20s, the state had people coming from all over the world to see its architecture, its factory assembly lines, its neighborhoods, its magnificent schools, and then before the Depression hit the rest of the country, Michigan was already in depression, and it hit harder. We went down farther, and so this roller coaster life, people come here expecting the American dream, and they find it often for a while, and then it crashes, and they don't. It's very hard to regroup. And there's also, even in the mediocre times, a sense that in a place that's so fine, where you can gain so much, you can also lose a lot. So people are very worried. They're often on edge. Will their children be able to get a college degree, for example, right now? Will their children be able to own a home? People are worried because they see what can be on both sides. Their most common denominator is their love for the country and their patriotism. The cover of the book shows them as shadowy, this shadowy person looking menacing. In fact, they are people who are out there waving flags. They are in every group people who consider themselves the best of the Americans. They're more American than other Americans, and they feel that many of their neighbors and friends have been duped and don't understand what democracy is about. So that's their biggest common denominator. They believe in America, they love America, they believe in the slogans that they were taught in grade school with a little lack of critical thinking, and they really think it's up to them. They have been told their whole life since they were little children, you know, step up, take on responsibility. And that's what they really think they're doing, whether they're in the Ku Klux Klan or whether they're in the John Birch Society or whether they're in the Michigan Militia. They really see themselves as trying to save America from somebody. The Klan was trying to save the country, trying to help the president, trying to help Congress, and save the country from immigrants who didn't understand democracy, from dangerous people who were going to undermine it, socialists at the time, labor organizers who were suspect, uppity women, Catholics, Jews, blacks. They were going to help the government with those causes. The militia sees that their role is to try to help the people and save them from the government. The militia thinks that the government is the danger right now that is threatening people. So there are differences among these groups, but the basic common denominator is they're really all good Americans. I think the fear of communists is the one link that they all have. Again, the Ku Klux Klan was afraid. They're defining it then as communist socialist. The communist revolution had just taken place in Russia when the Ku Klux Klan is emerging out of World War I. And the rest of the groups, Coughlin, who is often considered to be an anti-Semite, is basically, he does turn out to be an anti-Semite, but his biggest cause is also anti-communism. That's his major issue. And he begins to think even his friend Franklin Roosevelt is being manipulated or duped by people within his circle who are forces from the communist world. The John Birch Society, that is their major issue. The Birchers they adopt Communist Party tactics. They have cells, they have study groups, they use some of the same rhetoric to fight the communists. And much of the Birch concern and their rhetoric too is picked up by the militia. Although the militia, at this stage in time, it's world government and it's globalization. That to them is the new communist threat. The militia does not do the John Birch Society study groups. They don't have the blue book that guides them, but they study and they read selectively, as do all of us. And so they watch the literature that talks about the dangers of NAFTA, the dangers of outsourcing, the dangers that our jobs are being gone and that they're being sucked out by forces that we don't understand, much as the earlier people thought that communists were the biggest danger. Oftentimes the groups emerge in times of economic uncertainty. Not always, but usually. They often come along when there are concerns that are particularly local, even though they speak in terms of a national rhetoric, globalization or whatever their issue of the day is. They really are reacting most often to things in their own backyard, in their neighborhoods, to property taxes, to governmental officials that they think are lax or that are cheats, or to schools that they think are not doing the proper thing with their children, to neighbors who are moving in and threatening their property values, to cops that are harassing them, sometimes to welfare programs that they think aren't working out fairly. They are really most concerned about problems that they see right close around them, even though they then project themselves into a national scene and would use a broader rhetoric. I think it is, and I think we see that with the Tea Party right now that is becoming so important all around the country, and certainly Michigan has its Tea Party contingent. It's a time again when people are unsettled. We are in Afghanistan, we are in maybe Pakistan, we are in Iraq, we are worried about the foreign situation, but we're also worried about things that are going on at home, jobs. There aren't enough jobs to go around. Michigan is in a particularly difficult situation because we depended for so many years on well-paying jobs that didn't require very much education. So we have an undereducated population, and they are not really ready and prepared for the jobs that are available out there. So they're in this transition state now. If they've lost a job or they need to move to a new job, people are fearful. Will they be able to get a job? Moreover, they're worried about their children. Are their children going to be able to make a living? Will they be able to have the home that their parents have provided for them when they grow up? There is a lot of uncertainty, and there is also, in every one of these time periods, a group of people sort of behind the scenes who stand to make money from encouraging people's fears, from persuading people that they do have sinister forces out there manipulating them, whatever they might be. In the Ku Klux Klan case, they would talk often about the foreign pope who was feeding ideas into the school children in the Catholic schools. At this time period, they talk often about globalization, forces of beyond your control, government that is too big and too mysterious and yet manipulating you. So it is a time again when people are on edge and they're worried about their future, but moreover the future of their children.